Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sister Wives, Kody Brown works harder on Garrison's funeral than his own life. Sister Wives Sunday, 18th episode begins with the Brown family traveling to Wyoming to bury Garrison Brown, the son of Janelle and Kody Brown. The graveyard sits next to a piece of property that belongs to Kody's father, where Janelle's mother is also buried. This isn't a holiday. This is the embodiment of grief. Heartbroken, Janelle Brown tries to keep herself afloat by spending time with her grandchildren, teaching them how to cast fishing rods and assisting the children with planning the weekend schedule. However, the tears do not appear suddenly. Janelle asserts that no mother should have to bury her child. With her own kids, Janelle is supported by Christine, who has been her constant right hand. Although she acknowledges that she dislikes fishing, she supports Janelle and has been there for her at every stage. The family makes an effort to stay positive and concentrate on getting better despite the serious purpose of the get-together. The lack of responsibility. Kody and Robin, who are also in Wyoming but entirely apart from the rest of the family, are conspicuously missing from these early moments. They handle the trip more like a rural vacation, riding horses, smiling for photos, and sharing history about Kody's father's land, rather than joining the bereaved group. Throughout the show, Robin hardly ever brings up Garrison. Janelle considers how, despite Garrison's passing, Kody has yet to make amends with his living children. The alienation persists. She claims that he hasn't learned yet. Knowing that even this tragedy hasn't inspired Kody to mend what's broken only deepens the heartache. The only bright spot is that the siblings have become closer as a result of Garrison's passing, putting their differences to rest in a display of solidarity. A serious redemptive deed. Janelle gives Kody the symbolic responsibility of excavating Garrison's tomb at the burial site, which seems to be more motivated by Kody's guilt than by actual healing. Viewers are left wondering where this energy was during Garrison's lifetime, despite his claim that it is a pilgrimage. Although it's obvious that the hard effort is a form of silent penance, Kody claims that it is easing his anguish. He admits, maybe unconsciously, that he owes his late son a debt of affection. "I want the experience of doing some real effort here," he says. Garrison is buried next to Cheryl, his grandma. Janelle discloses that she hopes to be buried beside them both in the future. A sorrowful and symbolic funeral. A title card informs spectators that cameras were maintained at a respectable distance prior to the start of the service. On television, Janelle is numb and emotionally spent. She asks, "How did we get here?" It's simply devastating. Tim, Kody's brother-in-law, is in charge of the service. He wears a Hawaiian shirt, which pays homage to Garrison's idea of launching a company called Bob's Floral, which would sell whimsical, tropical shirts. Tim strikes a careful mix between humor and unfiltered emotion in his eulogy. By making references to pride and regret, he subtly disparages Kody and alludes to a more profound comprehension of pain that only parents can fully appreciate. Janelle gives Kody Garrison's urn to put in the grave, which she later claims has symbolism. This is Kody's moment. "I'm not gone, just stop playing sad music," Kody says in a dream he had of Garrison sitting on his bed. Viewers are left wondering if this is a moment of closure or if it's just another attempt to change the past. In honor of Garrison's passion for Norse mythology, Christine's son-in-law, Mitch Thompson, had hand-carved Garrison's urn into a Viking ship. Paydon Brown placed his service tags in the grave, and other family members took turns putting sentimental objects there. "You have mine, I have yours," he declared. Hunter Brown included the helmet he wore when Garrison gave him his first military salute. Additional family members contributed souvenirs and dirt. As a way to honor Garrison's wishes, Tim asked everyone to take off their shoes and stand barefoot on the ground as he ended the service. In one of his few epiphanies, Kody continued, "This funeral is not cookie-cutter." Following the funeral, Leon shows up. The Browns attempt to unite around Janelle back at the family's rental house. Madison acknowledges that she is still upset with her father, but she is unsure of how to constructively communicate this. In a rare appearance, Leon, who was formerly known as Mariah Brown, is present for the family despite being almost unrecognizable in his new persona. Gabe Brown, star of Sister Wives, has made a very exciting surprise for his fans and followers. During the three-part homage to his late brother Garrison, the son of Cody and Janelle Brown made a reappearance. What is he doing now? For more information, continue reading. Gabe Brown discloses an exciting development. After Garrison Brown committed suicide in March 2024, Sister Wives paid a heartfelt homage to him. It was devastating to learn that his brother, Gabe Brown, had found him dead in his house. After what he had been through, viewers were surprised as Gabe recalled the fateful day. They did, however, admire his courage and strength in the face of tragedy. Over the seasons, it has also been evident that he and his father, Cody Brown, had a tense relationship. What's going on in his life, though, as he has some huge and exciting news to share. His brothers spent a good deal of time in Las Vegas, so he was spending time there with them. The Browns left Utah and went to Vegas, where Logan Brown and his wife, Michelle Petty, stayed. Gabe seemed to have moved for love at that point, but he is also exploring the world of cameos. It makes reasonable that Gabe would get in since his father and the Sister Wives women have been on it for a while. After everything he has been through, viewers are even more captivated to him, who has always been a favorite among fans. Gabe Brown charges more than $40 each film and promises a 24-hour turnaround. Considering that Cody Brown charges more than $149 for each personal DVD, this is comparatively cheap. It was quite entertaining and delightful when Gabe said that he could make any kind of film that was wanted, and even provide some tea. He simply chuckled when the person who was filming his introductory videos requested him to conduct meal evaluations. He seemed to be in a nice mood, which was the finest part, modifying his life. After losing his brother, with whom he had a close relationship, Gabe Brown is making the most of his life. Together, they faced the pandemic and their father's desire to have them evicted. Garrison Brown was trying to purchase a house during the Sister Wives season, and Gabe was attending college. Garrison was saving for the down payment, but he had money. As a result, the brothers stayed with their mother, who insisted that they remain even though Cody claimed they were dangerous. Garrison was heading to work and returning home, but he thought Gabe was out with his girlfriend till the wee hours of the morning. Although Cody's situation never improved over time, the family did gather for Garrison's funeral. Fans have often shown sympathy for Gabe Brown, particularly after Cody failed to remember his birthday. My heart ached when Gabe lost it. Although I applaud Gabe for confronting Cody, no child should ever experience the same emotions that Cody causes in Janelle's children. Gabe, I understand your suffering. My father is a jerk who needs to be reminded about his kids' birthdays. I hope Gabe receives a lot of love from his cameo and that others come to him for advice. Are you pleased with Gabe's performance in spite of the situation? Tell us and tune into TLC's Sister Wives Sundays. Sister Wives' most recent episodes were incredibly sad as we watched the family cope with Garrison Brown's untimely passing. Fans are now able to observe how Cody Brown and Janelle Brown handled the grief of their son's suicide in 2024. The loss is devastating for Janelle and Cody, who buried their baby in Wyoming. And it's evident as they try their hardest to cope with the grieving process. In spite of everything, the show emphasizes how much they all loved Garrison and how each person grieves in their own unique way. And Cody was devastated by the loss. The patriarch disclosed that he had anxiety attacks while dealing with crippling waves of grief. You experience grief in waves. In an open examination of his grief following Garrison's suicide, Cody said, "When it hits me, I can't run from it." Garrison was just 25. "If I cry it out, or if I sob it out, I can cut it short, but when that wave comes, I cannot prevent it from affecting me," Cody continued in a vulnerable gesture. "The first person to hold him was me. My son is this. He was rocked to sleep by me. I go through this phase of sorrow." Cody is already grieving the loss of his baby, but he is also overcome with regret about all the other outcomes. Before Garrison passed away, the father and son were at odds, and now Cody regrets not talking to him more and questions whether things would have turned out differently if he had taken a different course of action. Cody said, "It will sometimes overcome me out of the blue. Like an anxiety attack of some sort. I have a strong, overpowering sensation that I won't see him ever again. Many things remain unspoken and unfinished. I'll never stop wondering what might have been in the future." Every member of the Brown family is paying tribute to Garrison in their own unique way, despite the difficult journey. On social media, Janelle frequently pays homage to her son by posting tidbits of information about his life. In honor of Garrison's passion for animals, Sister Wives viewers even made a donation to an animal sanctuary. In a turn of events that has left fans heartbroken, divided, and filled with sorrow, the Sister Wives community is still reeling after the tragic death of Garrison Brown, and the latest whispers circling around Flagstaff are stirring even more pain. Viewers who have followed the Brown family saga for over a decade were not prepared for the emotional blow that came with losing Garrison, a son, a brother, and a deeply misunderstood young man whose quiet struggle unfolded in the background while his family's dysfunction took center stage. But now, in the aftermath of the tragedy, a disturbing observation is echoing through social media and fan forums alike. Cody Brown, the patriarch who seemed increasingly estranged from his children in recent years, appears to be putting more effort into Garrison's burial than he ever did into Garrison's life. That stark contrast has created an uncomfortable narrative, one that calls into question what truly mattered to Cody when it came to being a father, and whether this tragic loss has finally forced him to confront the consequences of his emotional distance and selective fatherhood. The tension didn't start with Garrison's passing. It's been simmering for years. Anyone who watched the show closely saw the cracks begin to form between Cody and his older children, particularly during the pandemic. As Cody enforced strict COVID rules that alienated several of his kids, including Garrison and Gabriel, fans couldn't help but notice the cold, detached way Cody seemed to treat the boys who questioned his decisions. Garrison, who had been independent, served in the National Guard, and was trying to build a life of his own, was constantly pushed away, both figuratively and, it seems, emotionally. Cody's affection and attention appeared to flow more readily toward Robin's children, while Janelle's sons were left wondering why their father seemed to lose interest in being involved in their lives unless it was on his terms. Garrison didn't fit into Cody's idea of obedience. He spoke up. He pushed back. He challenged his father's rigidity, and for that, he was increasingly left out in the cold. The tragedy, therefore, isn't just in Garrison's death. It's in how invisible he seemed to be while he was alive. As mental health struggles became more prevalent, and as fans noticed Garrison's Instagram posts growing less cheerful and more isolated, many now feel that red flags were waving for months, perhaps years. Yet according to what viewers saw on screen and through family updates, Cody seemed more concerned with being obeyed than being available. In the heartbreaking aftermath, what's even more painful is how visibly present Cody has been during Garrison's funeral arrangements. From selecting the burial site to orchestrating a touching tribute, to appearing in photos where he seems utterly grief-stricken, it's all leading fans to ask, where was this level of emotion when Garrison was living? Some have labeled it performative. Others think Cody's actions now are the result of delayed guilt, a realization that perhaps, just perhaps, he prioritized control over connection for far too long. He's seen walking behind the casket. He's seen comforting Robin, even though it's Janelle who lost her son. And yet, there's an eerie silence when it comes to truly acknowledging how fractured his relationship with Garrison had become before the unthinkable happened. There's no question that grief affects everyone differently, and no one can fully prepare for the grief of burying a child. But for many fans, and heartbreakingly for Garrison's siblings, there's a gnawing sense that Cody's gestures are coming too late. That the energy he's now putting into honoring Garrison's memory would have made a world of difference if even a fraction of it had been directed toward honoring Garrison's existence. Janelle Brown, Garrison's mother, has carried herself with quiet strength during this unimaginable loss, but her pain is visible. She was the parent who showed up. She was the parent who supported Garrison's military journey, who helped him with his home, who publicly defended him when Cody belittled his independence. And now, she is the one mourning not only the loss of a son, but the emotional void that was made even more obvious by the father, who only seems to show up once it's too late. Christine, too, has spoken about the fractured relationships in the family, and her sadness is compounded by the fact that this could have been prevented. That with the right support system, maybe Garrison wouldn't have felt so alone. And then there's Gabriel, the brother left behind, who once cried on national television as he recounted how Cody forgot his birthday. The grief he carries now is unimaginable. He didn't just lose a brother, he lost a lifeline, a comrade in emotional survival within a family that often left them to fend for themselves. Fans have not held back. Reddit threads, Twitter posts, and comment sections are filled with raw emotion. Why is Cody planning flower arrangements now when he couldn't even return a phone call? One user asked. Another added, Garrison wanted connection. He didn't need a perfect father, just a present one. Now he's gone, and Cody's showing up in a suit with tears that might be more about guilt than grief. The public is watching, not just to mourn with the family, but to hold Cody accountable for the years when presence was optional and favoritism was blatant. And whether Cody is ready to admit it or not, Garrison's death has cracked open a truth that can no longer be denied, that love without action is not enough. That parental presence isn't something that should only arrive after a loss. As filming continues for the next season of Sister Wives, the question looms, will the show address this head-on? Will Cody confront the reality that viewers have seen for years, that his emotional availability was often dictated by loyalty, obedience, and which wife he was most devoted to at the time? Or will the series continue its carefully curated narrative, avoiding the hard conversations that Garrison's death has forced everyone to acknowledge? The hope is that this tragedy becomes a wake-up call, not just for Cody but for fractured families everywhere who believe there's always more time. Because the cruel truth is, sometimes there isn't. And so, while Cody Brown arranges the burial and speaks softly about love and legacy, many are left wondering if he will ever fully realize the irony, that the version of himself Garrison might have needed most, the tender father, the listener, the protector, didn't arrive until it was too late. It's a sobering lesson, that all the flowers, all the gravestones, and all the eulogies in the world can't replace showing up when it counts. And for Garrison, that window is forever closed. In a moment that shattered what little composure he had left, Sister Wives patriarch Cody Brown finally broke down over the heartbreaking death of his son, Robert Garrison Brown, a moment fans say was long overdue, but no less gut-wrenching. Known for keeping a tight grip on his emotions and a firmer grip on control, Cody, who has often stood at the center of criticism for his distant parenting, was visibly undone as the magnitude of the loss hit him square in the heart. Cameras weren't rolling when it happened, but those close to the family have spoken of the moment when the walls Cody had built for years came crashing down around him. The man who had tried to manage grief like a problem to be solved, who attempted to organize funeral arrangements like a business transaction, finally reached the breaking point, and it was raw, haunting, and impossible to ignore. In the stillness of a grief-stricken home, surrounded by photos of the son he struggled to connect with in life, Cody Brown fell apart, and the family, along with fans who have followed their journey for over a decade, were left reeling from the emotional wreckage. Cody's breakdown didn't come immediately after Garrison's passing. At first, he appeared to do what he always did, assume the role of coordinator, delegator, the man who would handle things. He met with funeral directors, discussed logistics with family members, and maintained a calm, composed exterior. But those who know grief intimately recognize the signs: the deflection, the numbness, the avoidance of emotional confrontation. It wasn't until Cody stood in Garrison's bedroom alone, holding a photo of his son in his National Guard uniform, that the dam finally broke. Witnesses say he clutched the frame like it was a lifeline, whispering Garrison's name again and again, as if trying to summon him back to life. "I didn't know," he said over and over, through ragged sobs that shook his body. "I didn't know it was this bad. I should have called. I should have gone over. I should have said I loved you more." The moment was profoundly human, messy, broken, and all too late. This emotional unraveling has forced Cody to confront a truth he had long ignored, that his relationship with Garrison was never healed, and now never can be. For years, the cracks between Cody and his older sons had widened into painful emotional canyons, particularly during the pandemic, when his strict isolation rules created deep resentment and left Garrison feeling alienated. Viewers painfully recall the episodes where Cody labeled his sons as rebellious for wanting contact with their siblings and girlfriends, normal, age-appropriate social connections that Cody treated as betrayals. Garrison was vocal. He wanted a relationship with his dad, but not at the cost of his autonomy. Cody, on the other hand, seemed to withdraw further, creating what now looks tragically like a permanent void. And while the show continued to portray Cody's life with Robin and her children as emotionally intact, Garrison quietly faded into the background, until the background became silence.